Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Doc Sadler, presented by Bancorp South. Well, the Golden Eagles beginning to wrap up the regular season of Conference USA, get ready for the Conference USA tournament. But I want to talk today about some of the guys that are seniors on this ball club. You've got some guys that have made great contributions to this team. Some have done it over a 4 or 5 year period. Others have done it over a shorter period of time. Let's talk about those guys just a little bit. Start out, I guess, with Kevin Holland, who's probably been here longer than anybody. 5-year guy who's played a lot of basketball for the Golden Eagles.
You know, John, when you get finished with coaching someone, you hope that they have taken advantage of every opportunity that they've been given. And you know, as I tell kids when we recruit them, you know, we're going to do our best to take advantage of them as a basketball player and make them the best they can be. But it's their obligation to also take advantage of the institution and take advantage of all the opportunities that they've got. I don't know that I've ever coached a player that has done that more so than Kevin. Obviously, he's been here 5 years. He's going to leave here with a master's degree and has been a very, very good basketball player for us. And, you know, it's not just the things that he does on the floor. It's all the other little things. And hopefully he's a player that leaves here, you know, leaving his mark as far as a basketball teammate, and that's what's probably the best thing about Kevin.
Another guy is Cortez Edwards out of Kissimmee, Florida, and he's a guy who I don't know how well he was recruited, or how much he was recruited by other teams, but you were able to get on him early. He came to Southern Miss, and man, he has gotten better and better each year of his career.
There's no question about it. You know, looking at just one game to go in regular season, to look back, and I can remember the day that his uncle dropped him off over at the apartments. Seemed like just yesterday. And you know, when we recruited Tez, we knew that he was a good player, but probably the biggest strength that he had was he just understood how to play, and he was a winner, because every year that he played in high school, they were playing for championships. And no, did not play a lot, averaged, you know, less than 2 points a game as a freshman. But again, he's another player that has taken advantage of everything that's been offered to him. He's going to leave with a degree, and at the same time, you know, he has put in the work to become a very, very good basketball player, and one of the better players in our league. And so it's been 4 years with him, and every one of them, I can really say that he hasn't wasted a day of any of those 4 years on the practice court or in games.
Another guy who's been here, I guess, 3 years, but's only played 2. He transferred from Oklahoma State, Tyree Griffin, who has become one of the hardest guards in this league to guard, but also a guy that can pass the ball, score with a basketball, a little bit of everything. Very versatile guy.
You know, Tyree is a player that when he came here and I was recruiting him, I told him, you know, that we had a very good point guard that was in the program. I wanted him to come in and learn from him. And that once he graduated, his 2 years that he would be eligible here, the ball was going to be in his hands, and the success that we were going to have was basically going to be, depend a lot upon himself. And there's not a day that Tyree hasn't competed each and every day on the practice court or in games. And you know, he's got a lot of strengths, and you mentioned a few of them, but I really believe the will to win a game and to compete is probably as good a quality as he has. And if you're going to have a quality, that's a good one to have.
Dominic McGee's another guy who's played for you here a couple of years at Southern Miss, another guy who transferred into the program, and he's had some great moments in his Golden Eagle career, and has made a great contribution to what you're trying to do.
Well, Dominic is, again, a player that came in and sat out, and you know, one of the more physical players that I've ever coached. I mean, he has all the tools to be a great player. Has had some rocky times with injuries. Every time he gets going, like this year, you know, he was probably playing the best he could play, and the next thing you know, he misses 3 weeks because of an injury. But I really feel like, you know, Saturday when we play San Antonio and then into the tournament, he's going to actually play the best basketball he's played all year, because the last 2 ball games he's played well.
The final senior, the 5th senior, is Anthony Penny Hampton, who's a guy who probably hasn't played as much as maybe he would have liked, but when you've called on him, he's always come in and added a lot of energy to what you're doing and played some good basketball.
Well, again, he's another player that when he walks away from here is going to be able to look into the mirror and say, you know what, I gave every day my best effort. And you know, as a lot of players leave college, probably don't get as much playing time as they would like. He falls into that category. But the thing about Penny is that he has not allowed that to affect each and every day that he has come to practice. He's a great leader as far as practicing with effort each and every day. And I still think, you know, Saturday and then in the tournament, he's going to have a bright moment, and it's going to help us win some games.
As a group, when you think of those 5 seniors, what comes to your mind?
Wow, where we were at probably when they all joined our program. This was not a place that looked very good. There wasn't a lot of positive things going on, and we talked about that. And I told them that they had an opportunity to leave a mark, not just with wins and losses, but also with the opportunity to leave their mark as far as a culture is concerned, and for Southern Miss basketball moving forward. Unfortunately, you know, the first year or two, maybe we didn't win as many ball games, but they've stuck with it. They've continued to stay the course, and the success that we're having right now is directly related to those 5 guys.
Well, you know, I mean, it's been a frustrating start to this 2019 season record-wise, and I think some of the things that have contributed to it, obviously, is a very tough schedule that we've played. Really good arms that we're seeing, but you know, nobody likes to use an injury as an excuse. We've had more than our share that we need to really get off the blocks like we wanted to. Got a lot of guys banged up that are trying to play through it, and really it's just kind of taking its toll. But we've got to do a better job of competing. You know, right now we've got Holy Cross coming in this weekend, a program that has played a very tough schedule thus far. I mean, they've been to you know, Baylor, they've been to UAB, they've been down to McNeese, played a tough tournament there. They're coming in from playing LSU, so you know, where their record might not be really good, certainly the competition that they've faced has been really good. So we've got to have ourselves ready to go for this upcoming weekend. With our hitting, we've just got to be more competitive. You know, I think there's been at times we've kind of given those at bats away more than we need to. I think a lot of it has to do with the arms that we've been facing. You know, Purdue had really good arms. Mississippi State have probably the best weekend arms that we'll see all year, in all honesty. And then, of course, Gonzaga had 2 really good arms. Unfortunately, we had to do some shuffling around with our rotation, moving Walker Powell because of some arm discomfort earlier in the week. I had to move him to Sunday, which, you know, was pitching really good on Sunday in that game 3 when we get rained out 7-1. So things didn't work for us there. Stevie Powers, he comes out in the first inning with a lat issue. So you know, back to the hitting, you know, I think we just got to be more competitive, understand how to have quality at bats, and certainly the big hit and the 2-out hit has eluded us in those situations where we need to score those runs. Well, you know, the Parrot Head Night, we started that, I think it was back in 2011, very successful promotional event, and we followed it up, I think last year or 2 years ago, I think it was. The last 2 years we've done it. It's a great time for people to come out and listen to Buffett music and just have a good time. So we're looking forward to that again, and people involving themselves with Parrot Head Night. But Holy Cross, you know, Division I club, one of 100 or 297 Division I baseball programs that play baseball and work hard to beat you. So, you know, certainly they're going to come in here with that on mind to beat Southern Miss.
Southern Miss. Harper Baker to Griffin. Griff front court. Griff going to drive all the way to the bucket and get a layup. They didn't get in front of him, and Griff took it to the hole. 15 for Griffin. Griffin looking at the shot clock. He's going to drive fake, give it to Holland. A 3 out front by Kevin. Bingo! Kevin Holland lines one in. Griffin out front, wants to drive, cut off, drives inside, hangs in the air and banked it in. He had 2 men hanging on him, and somehow he banked it in. And they need Drain maybe to give him a little boost here. Here's Griffin out front, Drain, a 3 straight away. Bingo! LD off the bench. Griffin driving, bounce pass taken away. A steal by Bearden. Bearden on the breakaway, and it's blocked out of bounds by Harper Baker. Edwards has it. He leads the break straight up the court. Edwards in traffic. Off to Griffin. Griffin drives down inside. Put it up with a man hanging on him. Harper Baker dribbling with it. Gives it to Griffin. Griffin guarded by Hollingsworth. Griffin faking. He's going to drive, feed the baseline. Drain goes in for the layup. Here comes Southern Miss trying to cut into a 7-point deficit. Griffin going to drive all the way to the bucket. Lays it in. He took it hard to the hole. Griffin driving into the right corner. Fakes and drives the baseline. Gets under the bucket. Throws it to Drain. 3 ball out of the right corner. Bingo! Drain off the Griffin assist. Back to Griff. 7 on the shot clock. Griffin got to do something with it. Gets it to McGee. 3 on the shot clock into Drain. Drain turns, shoots, and got it just before the shot clock went off. Hollingsworth back up top to Smith. Smith left wing to Anderson. Right corner. Omar's going to shoot a 3 blocked by Edwards out of bounds. Harper Baker going to give it back to Griff. Griff going to drive down the lane, feed inside to Drain, got hit, no call, put it up and in. Drain with a man hanging on him, put it in. Drain driving, feeds inside. Harper Baker back out to McGee. McGee going to fake. McGee going to drive down inside, hang in the air, and lay it in with the left hand to cut it to 1.
Been thinking about it since I was a kid.
Mom would be so proud.
If I could do it for a living.
Using my mom's recipes to open up a cupcake shop.
For my daughter to go to vet school.
Singing karaoke in all 50 states.
Captaining my own shrimp boat.
Tell us what you dream about. With the right loan or savings plan, we can make it a reality, no matter how crazy.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Keeping you within reach of what matters most. We're Bancorp South, and we're right where you are.
You got me falling hard, sweet baby. You got me falling hard for you. And still, I felt this way before. You know it's true. And still, you got me more and more. Oh, you got me falling hard.
Playing the game of basketball, growing up, it was an escape for me. Everyone did it in our neighborhood. You compete. If you love to compete, basketball is one of the best sports that you can be a part of. But I just like the toughness of it and just battling. You know, I've been a big fan when I was young. I was a Michael Jordan, but more so Scottie Pippen fan, and you know, I wanted that excitement that they brought to people, and I thought basketball was a big way that I can express that. You know, when I talk to the guys, hang out with them, try to get them to understand about being a professional, being a pro. It's not so much playing; it's about how you carry yourself, how you think. It's a mentality more so than anything, and I try to get these guys to think outside the box. I mean, a lot of guys think about the here and now. Like, you got to have a vision. You got to be willing to want to grind. It's about the grind. If you don't love the grind, you can't love the game of basketball, because it's a grind day in and day out. You know, it takes years for you to build your name and your legacy. So, I mean, if you're not about the grind, it's, you know, you're wasting your time. You know, I tell the guys that all the time. Going into my second year, you know, I've seen, well, I've heard, you know, where Doc was at when he first arrived here, and just from last year, him putting the pieces together and making the guys believe and showing them, trying to give them a winning mentality to carry on, you know, not just for this season or last season, for life. You know, everything he tries to teach, try to have some life value to it. And I think some of the guys, well, as you can tell in our results, I think the guys are buying into it. And you know, like, well, this guy's not really full of crap, you know. So they're understanding that what we're preaching as coaches is true. You know, we got a lot of basketball knowledge on our staff, and you know, we just actually just listen what we tell you, and I think that it's working. And as far as man and Doc relationship, it's like a weird relationship, because I still, you know, even though he's my boss, I still think of him as coach, you know. So just as a player, like, if I don't have to be around Coach, I don't be around him. You know, only go around to ask some questions from him. And you know, Coach Shields always like, oh, you're scared of Doc, and you know, no, I think I just have a certain respect for Coach just because he was my coach. I want to laugh and joke, which I do, but it's not the same with me laughing and joking with Shields, because Shields ain't cutting that check for me. So, you know, I gotta try to separate it. But it's been great just learning how he breaks down video, how he executes, and you know, his mind is going in a million directions. You know, he's always been a great defensive coach, even with his days with us at UTEP. So I mean, to see these guys buy in and have these guys hold guys to 39, 35% field goal, I mean, it's something that I'm learning and trying to figure out in my own coaching way, my coaching philosophy. How can I use still what Doc has installed and put it to my own concepts as being a coach?
Women's sports, like volleyball in general, haven't gotten a huge fan base in the past, so I think that will bring a lot of publicity to us in general as a whole, because volleyball and beach volleyball kind of work together. So I think a new sport will be really interesting and kind of bring new entertainment to the people who live around here. I know baseball and football are a really big thing here, but I think beach volleyball, being an Olympic sport and everything, is kind of a big deal from what I've heard to come watch and get to see collegiately. So, my sister played indoor volleyball when I was about 8 or 9, so I kind of got to be around the sport, just watching and playing on the sidelines, just messing around. And then when I was 11, I tried out for an indoor team. A lot of our indoor coaches were part of the sand program, and so I kind of switched over back and forth, and I was able to go play in tournaments as well with one of the girls that was actually on my indoor club team. We played together for 7 years, so that's pretty much my background. Is I started playing sand just right after I played indoor. I started playing indoor. Beach volleyball is actually a lot different than indoor. I mean, for obvious reasons, there's 2 people instead of 6, and you don't have as many people to worry about. But the environment in general is just a little more, it's still very competitive, but it's a little more laid back. I mean, obviously the whole beach setting makes it a little more laid back. Communication's very different. You have to have good chemistry with your partner, just because there's not as many people to interact with. It's just you and her. So it's very different, and there's a lot of rules and things that change from the court to the stands. The indoor game, I would say, is a little bit faster. I guess sand is more what they would call shoddy. It's a lot of placements, but it's very intense because one blocker, one defender, you're all over the court all the time. So it almost like exerts more energy and stuff like that. So it's kind of surprising the fact that it's slower, but almost harder. So it's pretty intense, and it can get very competitive. Well, I would say it's a lot harder than it seems, definitely, because when people see it on TV, it's kind of hard to grasp what it takes to only be 2 people on a court and be able to play like that. But I would definitely say it's a lot more, not more interesting than indoor, but it's got a lot of different aspects to it. I mean, just like I said, the speed and the competition, it's really cool to see the girls get into it and see the chemistry that they have with their partners. It's really cool because it's a year that we get to make history and kind of make a path for people to come behind us. I'm really excited to be able to play with a partner and be able to get a lot closer with my teammates, because it's a little smaller team, so it's a little more intimate, I guess, and it's just very exciting to be a part of this new team and new program. I don't think a lot of people look at us being a new program, they're like, oh, I think they could win a conference championship, but there's a lot of girls that are here that are strictly here for sand volleyball, so I think that our goal is basically the same as anybody else's program who's won a national championship, things like that. I think we're really looking to win and compete with the best teams, and we have a lot to learn and we have a long way to go, but I definitely think that we all have that goal of winning and competing with the best teams in the nation.
We won't know until the Saturday game with UTSA is over what the exact seedings are in the tournament. We'll talk about that in a minute, but now you're heading into this UTSA game, a team you beat in Hattiesburg a few weeks ago, and a very explosive team with a couple of really good guards in Jackson and Wallace.
Well, they got 2 players there that, you know, their teammates know what they're on the floor for, and that's to get each one of them 20 shots a ball game. And no lead is good enough when you're playing those guys, as we found out before. You know, so it's going to be, you know, coming off the road trip that we just came off of. It's going to be a game Saturday that, you know, we've got to be ready. And like you said, it's going to be a really, really big basketball game, and we need to do our best and see what happens.
Conference USA tournament right around the corner for the Golden Eagles next week out in Frisco, Texas. Overall, how do you see the tournament? There's a lot of teams, if you get hot at the right time, could probably win this thing.
Well, I mean, the tournament is basically everybody but UTEP and Charlotte. Those are the 2 teams that didn't make the tournament. So, in my opinion, any team's going to be able to win a game or 2. There's probably 3 or 4 teams that's probably favored to get to the finals, but they could get upset in the first round, because I really believe the league is that balanced, and each and every game is going to be difficult. And if you're not ready to play that first ball game, then you're going to be on the way home as soon as it's over. So it's going to be a great tournament for fans to go to if they like basketball, because I can see each and every game going down the last 2 or 3 minutes, and then the winner being decided at that point.
One thing you always have in a tournament, they're upsets. I mean, the Eagles last year knocked off the #1 seed, Middle Tennessee, so you just never know what's going to happen in those tournaments.
No, and that's why you have conference tournaments. There's always a team, as we told our team last year, that's not supposed to win. And, you know, we gave ourselves a chance. We won 2 games in the tournament, and, you know, the 3rd game we had a shot at beating the team that eventually won it. So everybody's going into this thing 0-0, and everybody's telling their team, you know, that it just takes 1 or 2 baskets to go in the hoop, and there will be a team that's in the NCAA tournament that nobody believes should be there. But just like last year, you know, you have some teams that once they do get there, you know, Baltimore County ended up beating Virginia. So anything can happen in tournament play, and it starts next week when we play in the Conference USA tournament.
Doc, we've enjoyed our visits each week with you, talking about Golden Eagle basketball. Best of luck in Frisco, and let's go kind of shock everybody and do some fancy things out there.
Well, look forward to it. Saturday is a big game for us, so let's get that one out of the way. But I appreciate everything that you guys do, and look forward to seeing you maybe at the end of the season.
All right, well, that'll do it for this week in Southern Miss basketball, our weekly visit on Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Doc Sadler, our final show of the 2018-2019 season. We'll see you in Frisco for the Conference USA tournament. We'll see you next year right back here on Southern Miss Sports Today with Coach Doc Sadler.
Been thinking about it since I was a kid.
Mom would be so proud.
If I could do it for a living,
Using my mom's recipes to open up a cupcake shop.
For my daughter to go to vet school.
singing karaoke in all 50 states.
Captain in my own shrimp boat.
Tell us what you dream about. With the right loan or savings plan, we can make it a reality, no matter how crazy.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Keeping you within reach of what matters most. We're Bancorp South, and we're right where you are.
You got me falling hard, sweet baby, got me falling hard for you. And still, I felt this way before, you know it's true. And still, you got me more and more. Oh, you got me falling hard.
Hey Southern Miss fans, it's Toby Barker, Mayor of Hattiesburg. Mickey Spagnola once wrote, "If you're going to war and you get to choose first, choose Southern Mississippi. Always choose Southern Mississippi. Don't fight Southern Mississippi, because no matter how hard you fight, those folks will fight harder." His words capture the character of our institution and our city. We here in Hattiesburg are writing a new story, one where we rise to our challenges with great excitement, one where we push our city to reach its potential, and most importantly, one where there's real partnership between the University of Southern Mississippi and the city of Hattiesburg. Southern Miss is vital to our city's success, from the quality of life it provides through athletics and the arts to the talent it cultivates in the classroom. We share a common destiny. Hattiesburg is proud to be Mississippi's college city, and we hope as we go forward you'll join us in supporting our Golden Eagles this season as they go to the top.